Weird creature encountered in mountains. A few years back, some friends and I were taking a drive through the mountains. I got a terrible feeling and begged my friend not to go the way we were headed. I had knots in my stomach. I felt like something very evil was waiting for us. He assured me we were fine. About 10 minutes later, we had to slam on our brakes to avoid an animal. It stopped in the middle of the road and glared right at us. It was only 4 feet in front of us, stood about 3 feet taller than the car, and had red glowing eyes. We all looked at each other in terror, as we said, "What the fuck is that?" I thought it would kill us, but it just stared at us, peering into our soul. It looked like a mix between a bear and a cat. It had a snout like a black bear, and ears and tail like a cat. It was before camera phones were really out, so we got no picture. It had glowing eyes and felt pure evil. Never saw anything like it again, and can't find any information anywhere as to what this thing might be. Anyone see anything like this before? Any ideas? Something looking in our home, hiding in the woods. My house is right next to a forest, where almost every side has the forest next to it. We only have one neighbor in our area, but they are rarely at home, since we live in such a dense forest, and the fact that I am in Norway. It is pretty much nighttime all day long. We rarely see any sunlight at all in the winter periods. What is really creepy though, is that the power to our house frequently cuts, which isn't really a surprise or a new thing, since the power goes out almost all the time. But very recently, very strange things start to occur when I am home alone. It has happened 2 times now, that when the power cuts, it's pitch black both inside and out. And one time it was completely dark. I was sitting in my living room on my cell phone when I suddenly see a flash in my panorama living room window. I take a look outside and see something at the edge of the woods with a flashlight on his head, looking directly in my window, maybe about 50 meters away, and he's just standing there. I'm a pretty confident guy, and not so easily scared around woods, given that I pretty much grew up here. So I figured I should check up on this guy, since he is on our property, and we really don't like people looking in our window, especially not that late at night. Power's still out, so I equip my flashlight, my field pants, and my hunting knife. I go outside and are heading for the direction where the figure was standing. Nothing there. I look around after it, and it's moved further in the woods. I could still see his flashlight. I yell at him. No response. I'm kind of jogging towards his position, still trying to get his attention, and tell him that people really aren't supposed to walk here. The closer I get, maybe about 100 meters away from my house, and 50 meters away from the figure, I realize something is off. My flashlight is lighting up the area, but it does not light up the person. It sort of goes through him. Now, I'm not that close that I can say for sure that the light doesn't illuminate him, but I stopped. This shook me to the bone. This guy casually stared in our window in the middle of a blackout, didn't react to my callouts. Neither did he walk in a normal pattern. His flashlight was almost hovering, and that's when his light just turned off. he disappeared. It was all pitch black again. The only light I could see was from my own flashlight. Still pretty shaken up, I hurried my way back to the house and found out that both the main ports to our barn was completely open, and that the floodlight position outside was also turned on, which indicated that the power was back. Not really comfortable with the experience I just had. I decided to just go to bed with all the lights on. I pretty much forgot about the whole thing. When about a year later, about a week from now, the same stuff happened again. The power was out, and again I was in my living room when I saw the same friggin' flash from my window. I peeked outside, and I just saw the same glow in the woods opening. I then remembered the occurrence last year, and I just froze. No way I'm going out there again. I locked all the doors, got my flashlight and my knife, locked myself in my bedroom. The power was back in an hour and a half, and I've never been so afraid as I was that day. I'm not sure who or what the thing in the wood opening is, or why it only appeared when the lights were up, but I'm not sure if I want to know. The experience didn't make me afraid of the woods either. I still roam it late at night, but I'm more afraid of being inside my house when it's dark. I'd much rather be out in the forest. Ghost lights in the mountains. Just stumbled across a subreddit and was curious if anyone else has had a similar experience. My best friend and I were camping at a spot in East Tennessee along a very famous trail last summer. We were only getting away for one night, and were set up very close to the trailhead and parking lot. When we arrived, there was only one other car in the parking lot, and before sunset we watched hikers return to that car and leave. As it got dark, some strange things began to happen. We heard what sounded like footsteps along the side trail that ran by our campsite, leaves crunching and twigs snapping under weight and such. We do a lot of hiking and camping, and are used to hearing unseen noises, so we didn't think too much of it. And then everything just got quiet. The woods have been loud. Insects, frogs, even a dog somewhere in the mountains have been making noise. It all stopped instantaneously as we were sitting around the fire. That's when we both saw a light swaying back and forth along the main trail. We looked at each other and said, "Did you just see that?" in unison. The best way I can describe it is it looked like a glowing ball without any radiance, like a street lamp may look without the glow surrounding it. It bobbed back and forth, following the trail into the woods, then circled around, came back towards our campsite, and finally turned around again and trailed off into the woods. It moved as if someone were carrying it, like a lantern or a headlamp, on a somewhat short person. We immediately decided to check it out, heading up to the trail with our flashlights, thinking someone was playing a trick on us or hiking into the trail after dark. The trail was deserted as far as we could see. We walked down the parking lot to see if any other vehicles had pulled in. No cars were there except my own, and every interior light was on, though the doors were locked. We packed up and left immediately,